"Hey," he said, extending his hand with a friendly smile. "I'm David." I couldn't help but notice. "Seriously?" Emma cut him off, her voice sharp with annoyance. "Look, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm really not interested." David looked taken aback, but kept his composure. "Oh, I wasn't trying to. I just thought maybe we could have a conversation. You seem—" "A conversation?" Emma's irritation was building. She'd had enough of guys who thought they had a chance with her when they clearly didn't meet her standards. "Listen, David, I can tell just by looking at you that we're not in the same league. You're black. I don't date black guys. Go back to Africa and find someone more your type." "You know what?" he said calmly. "I think you might be making some assumptions." And that's when Emma completely lost it. "Assumptions? Assumptions?" Her voice was getting louder, drawing looks from nearby patrons. "You're wearing a $5 t-shirt and sneakers that look like they came from a thrift store, and you think you can just walk up to me?" Before David could respond, Emma grabbed her mojito and, splash! She threw the entire drink right at his chest, not knowing he's tech billionaire that could have changed her life. But what do you think this billionaire did next? Did he lose his temper and slap her? Did he call the police? What he did next will absolutely shock you. You might even think he is a fool. But first, comment where in the world you are watching this from. You will definitely get a reply from us. And make sure to subscribe because you're about to witness the most satisfying plot twist of the year. Let me take you back to the beginning of Emma's worst day ever. It was a typical Friday evening in South Beach, and Emma was living her best life, or so she thought. Working at a small digital marketing firm downtown, making just enough to afford her tiny studio apartment in a not-so-glamorous part of Miami, she spent most of her free time dreaming about the luxurious lifestyle she saw all around her. Every weekend, she'd dress up in her best outfit, the one good dress every girl has, and head to the trendy rooftop bars where Miami's elite would gather, not because she could afford the $15 cocktails, but because she hoped to catch the eye of someone who could change her life. Emma had a type, and she wasn't shy about it. Tall, white, handsome, and most importantly, obviously wealthy. She wanted the guy with the designer watch, the perfectly styled hair, the confidence that only comes with money. She'd scroll through Instagram for hours, looking at couples living in penthouses, driving Ferraris, vacationing in the Maldives. "I'm not shallow," she would tell her best friend Jennifer. "I just know what I want. I want security. I want the good life." Little did she know, the universe was about to teach her the most expensive lesson of her life. That Friday started like any other. Emma finished work at 6, rushed home to her studio apartment, and spent 2 hours getting ready. She chose her favorite black dress, the one that made her feel confident, paired it with the heels that hurt her feet but made her legs look amazing, and called an Uber to Skybar. The rooftop was buzzing with the usual crowd. Beautiful people, expensive drinks, and the kind of energy that only Miami nightlife can provide. Emma ordered her usual, a mojito she'd nurse for 2 hours to make it last, and scanned the room for potential opportunities. That's when she saw him. But here's the thing, he wasn't what she was looking for at all. Standing by the bar was a guy who looked completely ordinary, average height, maybe 5'9". He was a Nigerian American with warm brown skin, kind eyes, and a genuine smile. He was wearing, get this, a plain white t-shirt, faded jeans, and sneakers that had definitely seen better days. No designer, anything. No obvious signs of wealth. He caught her looking and smiled. Not a cocky, confident smile, but something genuine, something warm. And then he walked over. Now, Emma was not in the mood. She'd already been approached by 3 guys that night who clearly couldn't afford her standards, and she was getting irritated. When she saw this average-looking black guy walking toward her with that casual outfit, something inside her just snapped. "Hey," he said, extending his hand with a friendly smile. "I'm David." I couldn't help but notice. "Seriously?" Emma cut him off, her voice sharp with annoyance. "Look, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm really not interested." David looked taken aback, but kept his composure. "Oh, I wasn't trying to. I just thought maybe we could have a conversation. You seem—" "A conversation?" Emma's irritation was building. She'd had enough of guys who thought they had a chance with her when they clearly didn't meet her standards. "Listen, David, I can tell just by looking at you that we're not in the same league. You're black. I don't date black guys. Go back to Africa and find someone more your type." The words hung in the air, harsh and cutting. But David didn't walk away. Instead, he just stood there with this patient, almost amused expression. "You know what?" he said calmly. "I think you might be making some assumptions." And that's when Emma completely lost it. Assumptions? Assumptions? Her voice was getting louder, drawing looks from nearby patrons. "You're wearing a $5 t-shirt and sneakers that look like they came from a thrift store, and you think you can just walk up to me?" Before David could respond, Emma grabbed her mojito and, splash, she threw the entire drink right at his chest. The liquid hit David's white t-shirt, soaking through the fabric and dripping onto his jeans. Ice cubes scattered across the floor. The entire rooftop seemed to go quiet for a moment as people turned to stare at the commotion. Emma expected David to get angry, to storm off, to cause a scene. That's what most guys would do, right? But David? David just looked down at his soaked shirt, then back up at Emma with the most unexpected reaction. He started to laugh. Not a bitter, angry laugh, a genuine, almost delighted laugh. "Wow," he said, wiping mojito from his shirt with a cocktail napkin. "That's definitely a first for me." Emma was stunned. This was not how this was supposed to go. Aren't you angry?" "Angry?" David shook his head, still chuckling. "Emma, if I got angry every time someone judged me by my appearance, I'd be furious 24/7. Wait, how did he know her name? She hadn't told him her name. "I heard your friend call you Emma earlier," he explained, as if reading her confusion. "And look, I get it. You think you've got me all figured out. But what if I told you? You might be wrong." There was something in his voice, something confident, almost mysterious. Emma found herself actually listening for the first time. "I'm going to grab some napkins from the bar to clean up," David continued. "And when I come back, maybe we can start over? No assumptions, no judgments, just two people having a conversation." He walked toward the bar, completely unbothered by his soaked shirt or the stares from other patrons. And as Emma watched him go, she felt something she hadn't expected: curiosity. When David returned with a handful of napkins, drying off his shirt, he had that same genuine smile. "So," he said, "want to try this again? Hi, I'm David, and despite evidence to the contrary, I don't usually get drinks thrown at me on first meetings." And somehow, Emma found herself smiling. Maybe it was his unexpected reaction, or maybe it was the way he handled her awful behavior with such grace. But something about David intrigued her. I'm sorry," she said, surprising herself. "That was completely out of line." "Apology accepted," David replied. "Now how about we start with something easier? What do you do for work?" And just like that, they began to talk, really talk. And Emma discovered something shocking. Despite his appearance, despite her initial horrible behavior, David was interesting, funny, intelligent. He asked thoughtful questions about her job, her dreams, her life in Miami. They talked for an hour, a full hour, and Emma found herself enjoying it, which was confusing because David was everything she thought she didn't want. Plus, she'd literally thrown a drink at him, and he'd just laughed it off. Who does that?